Hello and welcome to Peaky Boardgamer. My name is Ektorakos and today I will teach you the game Dragonkeepers. The game is for 2 to 4 players and plays in only 20 minutes. The game is designed by Menzel, who is very popular for his artworks in board games, and yet this is one of their personal designs. This is a very simple game to play. Let's move to the table and start. At first, take the cards of the game and separate them according to their back illustration. 2 cards depicting a number and cards depicting a dragon. From the cards with a value, you must find and separate all 6 value cards and set them aside. From the dragon cards, you must find and separate all cards depicting a ribbon in the bottom left corner. You shuffle the decks separately and then you bring them close together to form the magic book. Then flip the top card of each book side and place them right beneath their corresponding deck. The front side of all cards always depict dragons. Dragons appear in 4 different colors: green, orange, white and blue. These are amulet pieces which have a number in one of their sides. First place them all facing downwards and shuffle them. Then you will randomly remove pieces back to the box according to your player count, as I show you in the graphics. Flip the remaining pieces upwards, sort them according to their value and place them in an ascending order in the middle of the table. Create a supply of pearls using the side not depicting a value, shuffle them. Also create a supply of crystals and golden eggs. Next, place the 3 crests in the middle of the table. In a 2 players game only, you'll need to remove the 16-point crest. Then shuffle the 6 chest tiles and randomly pick 1 to use in the game. The other 5 will be placed back in the box. It is recommended, however, that you don't use chests in your first games. Now you'll have to choose a player at random to take the first turn. That player begins the game with no starting dragon cards. The rest of the player turn order is determined clockwise. The second player starts the game with 1 random starting card. The third player starts the game with 2 cards, and if there were a 4th player in the game, that player would start with 3 cards. Any remaining starting cards are removed from the game. The game is now ready to start. If you're still watching this video and like this kind of content, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done already and hit that bell button so you get notified of all our future videos. I would be deeply grateful if you did, as this is the only way for this channel to grow. The game is pretty simple. Players will be collecting dragon cards, and with these cards they will form sets, playing them in front of their play area. Whenever you do so, you are gaining bonuses that worth victory points at the end of the game. As the game progresses, players will be forming amulets, and after a certain amount of amulets is created based on the player count, the game ends. Let's now see a player's turn in greater detail. You start your turn by gaining up to 3 cards from the supply. You take these cards one by one and only from the face-up cards displayed beneath the book. After you take one of the cards, you immediately replenish the empty space with a card from the corresponding deck. If I take that card, I will replenish it from this deck. Let's say I will take a 3rd card, so I will replenish the space again. Players keep their cards secret from other players at all times, and there is no limit in how many cards you can have. After you stop taking cards, the book indicates the set of which dragons you can play. In our example, the active player can play a set of 4 blue dragons. However, the player can change the magic book, thus affecting the set they need to play, by playing cards from their hand back to the pages of the book. So, if I play this card here, now I need 2 blue dragons instead of 4. And if I played this card on the right page, I would need 2 white dragons instead of blue. Important! You cannot play more than 1 card on each side of the book. So that was the maximum change I could do. If the player can create the indicated set, they play all the cards of the set as a stack in front of their play area. Then the player collects the bonuses depicted on the left side of the magic book. We will explain these in a bit. You can only form 1 set in your turn. So even if I had 4 white dragons, I could only play 2 of them. If you cannot form the indicated set, then you simply pass. Finally, regardless whether the active player played the set or not, all other players in a clockwise order take the opportunity to also play a set as indicated by the book without affecting it. You can only affect the book when you are the active player. This process is called completing the turn. So, after the turn is completed, you proceed with the next turn, with the next clockwise player becoming the active player. As we said, you play your sets in front of your play area. You will be forming 1 stack for each type of dragon. When you play a set of a different type of dragon, you'll have to decide whether to place the stack either to the right or the left of all other stacks. If you play another set of a dragon type you already have played, you place the cards on top of the same stack. However, after you play your 3rd different stack, the dragon type which is in the middle is now blocked. You can still add blue dragons into your hand, but you can no longer form sets with them. And after you've played the 4th stack, a 2nd type of dragon is also blocked. So, for the remaining of the game, I can only create sets of orange and green dragons. However, at the moment you create your 4th set, you also gain the highest value crest still in the supply. The value means victory points at the end of the game. Now let's see the different types of bonuses you gain whenever you play a set. In general, the more the cards of the set, the better the bonus. As you can see, all of the bonuses involve the taking of at least 1 amulet piece. You take the piece with the lowest available value. If, however, a crown is depicted on the bonus, then you take the tile with the highest available value. After you take your first tile, you place it facing downwards in front of your play area. When you take your second tile, you will place it next to the other one. When you take the third piece, you complete the circle and you immediately take a pearl from the supply, placing it in the middle. If there are red pearls available, then you must take one of these and place it in the middle of your amulet facing downwards. Red pearls have a higher victory point value than blue ones. After red pearls are exhausted, you can start using the blue ones. This here is a complete amulet. If the player collects another amulet piece, they will start creating a second amulet and so on and so forth. So, when you create a set of 1 card, you gain an amulet piece and also 1 crystal. You keep crystals in front of your play area. You can use crystals in 2 different ways. One is to spend a crystal in order to gain 4 cards instead of 3. Its other use is to spend it to use the chest power. I will explain all chest powers at the end of this video. If you create a set of 2 cards, you take a piece, but also one of these cards. These are shadow dragons. These are wild cards and can be used as any other dragon. You can use any number of shadow dragons in your set, but a set cannot consist of shadow dragons entirely. When you play them in a set, you stack them with your other cards in front of your play area. If the stack of shadow dragons depletes, then this bonus has no longer an effect. When you create a set of 3 cards, you take 2 amulet pieces. With a 4-card set, you gain 1 amulet piece and also 1 of these eggs. These eggs score 4 victory points at the end of the game. However, the player that has the most eggs in final scoring will flip 1 of their eggs to the other side, which will score 16 victory points. If players tie, then all tied players will flip 1 of their eggs. With a 5-card set, you gain an amulet piece with the highest value, and if you create a set of 6 cards, you gain 2 pieces, 1 with the lowest value and 1 with the highest value. The game ends when the specified amount of completed amulets is created in total by all players. In a 3-players game, this is 8 amulets. So if, let's say, this player completes the 8th amulet, then the game ends at the end of the current turn. Don't forget that the last phase of each turn is that all players get the opportunity of playing a set. This means that the end of the game could be triggered from someone who is not the active player. It's also possible that at the end of the game, more than the specified amulets have been created. This is absolutely normal. When the game ends, all players flip all of their amulet pieces. The player with the most eggs flips one of them, and then you add up all values, which will give you your total score. Incomplete amulets will also score points. The player with the most victory points is the winner of the game. In case of a tie, the tied player who has played the most cards in front of their play area wins the tie. If the tie still exists, all tied players share their victory. In this appendix, I will explain all 6 powers of chests. You use these tiles by spending 1 crystal, and on every turn, you can play at most 1 crystal. Not only you can use these powers when you are the active player, with the exception of the Dragon Mint, you can use these powers even when you are completing the turn, meaning when it's your time to play in another player's turn. As we said during setup, you choose randomly one of these to be used. However, after players get to know all items well, you can start using more than 1 tiles. Players can even agree on selecting specific ones to use. When you use the power of the Dragon Mint, at the start of your turn, you take the top card of both pages of the magic book into your hand. Important, the Dragon Mint is the only power that cannot be used if you are not the active player. With a green ore hammer, whenever you are gaining an amulet piece of the lowest value, you can upgrade it and gain one with the highest value. Important, when you're gaining this specific bonus, you can only upgrade one of the 2 amulets and you cannot use a second crystal even if you had one. You can use the prism ink in order to play a set of dragons of a different color than the one indicated by the magic book. When you use the swindle feather, the amount of required dragons indicated by the magic books is modified by -1. So I could now play a single green card and gain the bonuses. Important, you cannot use this power if on the top of the book there is a 1 value card. You cannot create a set of 0 dragons. When you use the power of the Twilight Flute, after you play a set of cards and gain all the bonuses, you take back to your hand all cards except than 1, which always has to be played in front of your play area. Finally, when you use the Troll Horn, you can play a set of dragons, even if these dragons are blocked. And that was Dragonkeepers, designed by Michael Menzel. If you like our board games and want to see more, please subscribe to our channel. Until next time, have fun and play more board games.